Good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Beetv Global News at 12. My name is Zainab Mohammed and now the news in details. Security was tightened across Tanzania on Tuesday with police and military seen patrolling major cities ahead of anticipated anti-government protests called to coincide with Independence Day. By sunset, however, no major demonstrations had taken place, the report. Residents in Dar es Salaam, Arusha, Beira, Wanza and several other urban centers reported an unusually slow start to the day, with many people choosing to remain indoors amid uncertainty over whether protests would happen. The demonstrations were called to demand political reforms in the wake of October's post-election unrest, which left an unknown number of people dead. The authorities have admitted using force against protesters, claiming that some groups were attempting to overthrow the regime. On Tuesday, BBC reporters observed nearly empty streets in the commercial capital, Dar es Salaam. This was a stark contrast to the city's usual weekday bustle. Although quiet, the atmosphere remained tense. In a sentence, police spokesperson David Missim assured the public of their safety and the protection of their property, saying the situation remained calm nationwide. He also urged citizens to dismiss old photos and video clips circulating on social media that falsely suggest protests are taking place. Zainab Mohammed reporting for Beetv News. There is a sense of disbelief in the Sierra Leonean village as people weep in front of the bodies of two teenage boys wrapped in white clothes. The day before, 16-year-old Mohammed Bangura and 17-year-old Yahya Jenna left their homes in Nimbadu in the country's eastern province, hoping to earn a little extra money for their families. They had gone in search of gold but never returned. The makeshift pit they were digging in collapsed on them. This was the third fatal mine accident, leaving a total of at least 5 children dead in the last 4 years in this region. Mohammed and Yahya were part of a phenomenon that has seen a growing number of children missing schools in parts of Sierra Leone to mine the precious metal in potentially lethal pits. According to head teachers and community activists, the eastern province has historically been known for diamond mining, but in recent years, informal or artisan gold mining has expanded as the diamond resources have been depleted. The Prince of Wales has paid tribute to pioneer elephant controversialist Lane Douglas Hamilton, who died aged 83 at his home in Nairobi on Monday. Douglas Hamilton spent his life studying and campaigning to protect African elephants, becoming a world-leading expert on their behavior in the wild. His groundbreaking research exposed the devastating effects of poaching, often at great risk to his own safety, and was instrumental in the banning of the international ivory trade. Prince William praised the zoologist as a man who dedicated his life to conservation and whose life's work leaves lasting impact on our appreciation for and understanding of elephants. The main provider of malnutrition treatment in Gaza reported that 9,300 children under 5 were treated for severe acute malnutrition in October, following the first phase of a ceasefire aimed at ending the 2-year Israel-Hamas war, the report.
At midnight local time on 10th December 2025, the law took effect requiring major platforms to block under 16 users or face fines of up to AUD 49.5 million. Platforms covered by the ban include Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, X formerly Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, Twitch, Kik and related services such as Threads. The law known as the Online Safety Amendment, Social Media Minimum Age Act 2024 was passed in November 2024, giving platforms nearly a year to prepare for compliance. According to the government, especially Prime Minister Albanese, the ban aims to shield children from the harms often associated with social media, from addictive scrolling, peer pressure and bullying to exposure to harmful content and mental health impacts.
While this represents a decline from unaffordable for many families, the nutritional agency also affects pregnant and breastfeeding women, contributing to a rise in low birth weight infants and threatening long-term child health. UNICEF has increased treatment points in Gaza City from 7 to 26, and aid deliveries now include non-food items like tents, blankets and winter clothing to protect displaced families from harsh conditions. However, the agency emphasized that these measures are insufficient without unhindered humanitarian access and restored commercial food supply. High level of malnutrition continues to endanger the lives of children in Gaza, especially with winter setting in, said UNICEF Executive Director Catherine Russell. The UN warns that without urgent actions, the crisis could result in further preventable deaths and long-term developmental harm among children. Favour Kolawole reporting for Beetv News. Fighting broke out Sunday night along the Thailand-Cambodia border following a skirmish that left one Thai soldier dead, despite a ceasefire that had ended 5 days of deadly clashes in July 2025. The report. The renewed violence comes amid long-standing disputes over border territory, which both countries claimed based on colonial-era maps and historical sites. Previous fighting in July resulted in dozens of civilian and military casualties and forced the evacuation of over 100,000 people. Schools, hospitals and local infrastructure were severely affected, and tens of thousands of residents remain fearful of returning to their homes. According to Thai authorities, Sunday's clash involved crossfire along with disputed border sectors. Cambodia has denied responsibility for initiating the attack, claiming its forces were responding to incursion by Thai troops. No independent verification of either claim has been released. The July 2025 conflict, which lasted 5 days including artillery and rocket fire, with Thailand even deploying fighter jets in target Cambodian positions. Both sides signed a truce at the end of the fighting, but the ceasefire has proved fragile. Incidents in November, including alleged landmine injuries to Thai soldiers, raised tensions and undermined the truce, culminating in the recent skirmish. Civilians in both Thailand and Cambodia are taking shelter as tension flare. Temporary camps and shelters have been established in safer districts to accommodate the displaced, while local authorities have urged residents near the border to avoid conflict zones. Humanitarian groups warn that civilian casualties and infrastructure damage risks violating international law. Regional observers note that without a durable political settlement, the border dispute is likely to flare up again, with serious consequences for regional stability. Both governments have yet to issue detailed statements regarding plans to restore calm. Zainab Mohammed reporting for Beetv News. On December 8, 2025, Paramount Skydance publicly initiated a hostile all-cash tender offer to acquire all outstanding shares of Warner Bros. Discovery at $30 per share, valuing the company at approximately $108.4 billion, a substantial premium over recent valuations. The report.
This offer directly challenges a competing deal struck days earlier between WBD and Netflix, under which Netflix agreed to acquire WBD studios and streaming businesses, including major film studios, HBO, and streaming assets. Importantly, that deal excluded WBD's linear cable networks like CNN and other global networks. Paramount argues it delivers superior value for shareholders. The transaction is simpler, pure cash, likely faster to close, and includes the entire company studios, streaming, and cable networks. Backers of Paramount's bid reportedly include the Ellison family, Paramount Skydance's controlling shareholders, and external financing from a coalition including 3 middle Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds. Just days ago, many at CNN experienced a moment of relief. The Netflix WD deal, by excluding cable networks, promised a spin-off path for CNN and its sister channels, likely reducing concerns about forced mergers or political interference. But Paramount's new bid changes everything, because the tender offer covers the entire WBD portfolio, including cable networks. CNN is now back in play. If Paramount succeeds, CNN could end up merged with other media assets under Paramount's guidance control. This shift has placed CNN and its sister networks into a fresh period of management limbo, with their future leadership, editorial direction, corporate strategy, and even ownership structure all uncertain. Paramount's move isn't just a business play. The scale and scope of the bid raise serious questions about media consolidation, regulatory and antitrust scrutiny, and the future of independent journalism. Observers note that combining major media properties from studios and streaming services to legacy cable news networks under one corporate umbrella could reduce the diversity of the media ownership and viewpoints. Given reported political connections between Paramount Skydance's leadership and high-profile figures, some fear the deal outcome could influence editorial lines or reshape how news is produced and distributed under new management, especially if legacy news outlets like CNN are merged with others. WBD shareholders and regulators are now the key decision makers. Paramount's tender offer is open to shareholders under a defined time frame, but approval is not guaranteed. The possibility remains that the competing Netflix deal for studios plus streaming only could go through, but only if WBD rejects Paramount's full company bid or the networks are spun off separately. For CNN and sister networks, expect continued uncertainty. Leadership decisions, strategy plans, digital transition programming, staffing, and corporate direction may remain on hold until ownership is resolved. Regulatory ownership and scrutiny will likely intensify. The size of the deal, geographic diversity of the financing partners, and potential for media consolidation mean antitrust regulators and public interest groups will pay close attention. Paramount Skydance's surprise $108.4 billion hostile bid for Warner Bros. Discovery has turned what looked like a settled path via the Netflix deal into a major showdown. The bet for control of WBD in full, including studios, streaming, and cable networks, has thrown legacy assets like CNN back into uncertainty. For CNN employees, audiences, and media watchers, the coming weeks and perhaps months will be critical. The outcome will shape not only corporate ownership, but potentially the nature of news media consolidation, with broad implications for media diversity, editorial direction, and the future of cable news journalism in the streaming era. Temitope Oluwafemi reporting for Beetv.
President Donald Trump has continued to attribute high consumer prices to policies enacted by President Joe Biden and Congregational Democrats, repeating his long-held argument that their economic agenda triggered inflation. Trump maintains that a return to his own policy approach would ease pressure on Americans and bring prices down. However, while Biden has frequently been a target of Trump's criticism on inflation, economists know that several of Trump's recently proposed or rapidly implemented policy pressures have contributed to renewed price increases. Inflation had begun to ease after reaching a four-decade high in 2022, but analysts report that some of Trump's aggressive policy moves, including tariff actions and regulatory shifts, have pushed certain costs upward again. Despite this trend, Trump continues to assert that Democrats are responsible for elevated prices and says his agenda remains the path to lowering costs for households. The debate over responsibility for inflation has become a central point of contention as both parties highlight economic pressures facing voters. News. Nigerian chef Damilola Adeparusi, widely known as Chef Dami, has graduated from the Hospitality Business School in Lagos, marking a significant milestone in her journey from viral cookathon participant to professionally certified chef. Her completion of the Professional Culinary Arts Chef Diploma was made possible through a full scholarship provided by her CAB mentors and his partners. Also, Ine Nakalu makes history with Turner Prize win. The report.
Chef Dami first gained national attention in June 2023 after her cookathon attempt, which propelled her into the public spotlight and opened new opportunities in the culinary field. She began a program in February 2025 and described the experience, especially wearing her chef uniform for the first time, as a motivating step in her professional development. Her scholarship was supported by a collaboration between HBS, food entrepreneur of Fatherboy, the Ekiti State government, and First Lady Yemi Oyebanji. The program includes 5 additional training modules intended to produce well-rounded chefs, according to HBS Group CEO Dr. Mekuye Eric. Chef Dami thanked supporters who facilitated her enrollment and said the training had positioned her for a more structured career in the food industry. In another development, music icon Innocent Tubaba Idibia has appealed to fans and the public for understanding following widespread online discussions surrounding his marriage to lawmaker Natasha Osawaru. The controversy followed the circulation of videos showing a tense moment in their home, captured inadvertently during a live session and later amplified on social media. The viral footage triggered debates about the couple's well-being and privacy, with some observers expressing concern for Natasha after reports that she had received threats linked to the incident. The situation dominated online discourse over the weekend as supporters defended the couple, while others questioned how the private moments became public. Addressing the issue during a live performance, Tubaba urged fans to avoid escalating the situation and ask for forgiveness on behalf of himself and his family. He emphasized the importance of empathy and responsible public engagement, noting that public figures also experience personal challenges that should be handled with sensitivity rather than speculation. British-Nigerian artist Nena Kalu has won the 2025 Turner Prize, becoming the first artist with a learning disability to receive the UK's most prestigious contemporary art award. The judges commended her for her bold, vibrant sculptures and expressive drawings, describing the work as visually compelling and uniquely her own. Kalu, 59, who is autistic and has limited verbal communication, received the award and each €25,000 prize at a ceremony in Bradford, the UK's current city of culture. She has been a resident artist at Action Space since 1999, an organization that supports artists with learning disabilities and has steadily gained prominence in the art world over the past decade. Her sculptures built from layers of ribbon, string, fabric, VHS tape, and other repurposed materials have been recognized for her dynamic three-dimensional qualities reminiscent of abstract expressionist forms. Tate Britain director and jury chair Alex Farquharson said the pieces were distinctive work that could only have been created by Kalu. Her longtime artistic facilitator Charlotte Holinshed described the victory as a breakthrough moment that expands representation and recognition for artists with learning disabilities. And that's it on the entertainment news. Evelyn Isabella reporting for Beetv News.
Thank you for staying with us on Beetv Global News at 12. My name remains Zainab Mohammed. Goodbye and have a lovely day.
Beetv.